You're not always going to feel like doing it. That's the truth. And if you wait until you feel like it, you'll be waiting your whole life. Discipline doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care how long your day's been or what kind of drama is happening in your life. Discipline is not about your emotions. It's not about what you want to do. It's about what you've committed to do. And that's the difference between the ones who rise and the ones who stall. See, emotion is loud. It screams in your ear. Sleep a little longer. You deserve a break. No one's watching, just skip today. But discipline whispers. It's that quiet voice at 5:00 in the morning saying, get up. It's the silent nod you give yourself when everything in your body is aching and you still lace up your shoes. It's the part of you that shows up not when it's easy, but when it's necessary. Because when you operate on emotion, you're giving your power away. You're saying, I'll move when I feel ready. But what if ready never comes? What if that spark never lights? Are you just going to sit still and let your dreams decay? Discipline is what moves you forward when nothing else will. It's the engine that runs when the fuel is gone. It's the heartbeat when the motivation dies. People confuse motivation with discipline. Motivation is fleeting. It's the music that hypes you up at the gym, but discipline is the reason you showed up in the first place. Motivation is inspiration on a sunny day, but discipline is the umbrella in the storm. Motivation will leave you the moment it gets hard. Discipline thrives in the hard. It becomes sharper in the difficulty. It becomes hungrier when everything else is trying to stop it. Some days the body is sore, the mind is scattered, the spirit feels crushed, and still you work. Why? Because you decided long ago that your goals weren't up for negotiation. You said to yourself, no matter what, I will push, I will show up. That's not emotion. That's principle, that's grit. That's the kind of focus that builds empires, changes lives, and rewrites family legacies. You think champions only train when they feel strong. You think leaders only speak when they're confident. No, they move through the fire with shaking hands and trembling knees. They walk into the fight with doubt in their head, but discipline in their step. They don't wait to be fearless. They act in spite of fear. They don't wait for strength, they become strength. And that's what you're called to do. Your mind will make 1,000 excuses. It'll try to convince you that rest is more important than resilience. That comfort is better than growth. That average is safer than greatness. And every time you choose discipline, you shut those voices down. You silence the chaos and make room for clarity. You tell your future self, I've got you. Because every moment you choose discipline over emotion, you stack bricks in the foundation of your success. Every rep you do when you don't want to, every early morning, every lonely night grinding when no one's clapping for you, that's where the fire is built. That's where your name is forged in silence, and the world, they'll see the results, but they'll never understand the grind. They'll never understand the nights you cried and still worked, the days you failed and still tried again. But you'll know, you'll carry that unshakable pride, not because you felt strong, but because you honored the promise. You did what you said you would long after the feeling left. That's a different kind of power. That's not hype. That's not noise. That's discipline, and it's more than enough. There's going to be resistance. There's going to be pain. There's going to be moments you want to throw it all away. But if you can master the art of showing up especially when it's the hardest, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you realize that emotion is a luxury and discipline is a necessity. Emotion wants to feel good right now. Discipline wants to be proud forever, so you tell me, which one are you going to listen to? Weakness is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you who you are when all the noise is stripped away. When your muscles ache, your mind screams, your heart questions everything, and the world offers you every reason to quit, that's not failure knocking at your door. That's your test. That's your chance to show up for yourself. See, anyone can perform when everything feels right. Anyone can smile when they're winning. But who are you when it's not easy? Who are you when the weight gets too heavy, when the air gets thin and the crowd gets quiet? That's where your real story is written. Weakness isn't a reason to fold, it's an invitation to rise. Because those moments, the ones that shake you, break you, and challenge every bit of strength you think you have, those are not setbacks. They're checkpoints, markers on the road that ask you, do you really want this? Do you have the courage to keep going when everything in you says stop? That's the test. And passing it isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about staying in the fight, even when your hands are trembling and your knees are buckling. Most people run from weakness. They hide it. They deny it. They let it define them. But the truth is, weakness is a gift. It exposes your cracks so you can reinforce them. It reveals what's unfinished so you can build stronger. Weakness doesn't make you less, it gives you room to become more. And the only people who grow are the ones who lean into that discomfort and say, this is where I start leveling up. It's easy to say I'm strong when nothing is pulling at you. But when life puts you in the fire, when you're tired, worn down, and feeling like there's nothing left to give, that's when your strength is proven asterisk. That's when your character steps forward and says, I'm not done. You don't find out who you are in comfort. You find out who you are in chaos. You don't build resilience by coasting. You build it by dragging yourself through the days when your body's failing but your spirit refuses to let go. You want to be great, then stop waiting for the perfect conditions. Greatness is forged in pressure, in fatigue, in adversity. The champions of this world didn't win because they were always the strongest or fastest. They won because they refused to let weakness be the end of their story. They fell, yes, but they got back up again, and again and again. That's the part no one claps for, the unseen hours. The pain behind the scenes, the silent battles, but that's where the transformation happens. Every time you think I can't, but you do anyway, you gain a piece of yourself. Every rep when you're exhausted, every word you write when your mind is blank, every step you take when your legs are shaking, that's not weakness defeating you. That's you turning weakness into wisdom, into strength, into power, because this journey was never supposed to be easy. If it were, everyone would have what they want. But you were made for more, and that means walking through the pain, not around it. Pain is not punishment, struggle is not a curse. These are the tools life uses to carve champions, so the next time you feel like quitting, I want you to remember that this is your test. Not a test of your ability, but a test of your heart, of your will, of your why. Weakness says, you don't have to do this today. Strength answers, that's exactly why I will. Because when the body gives out, the mind takes over. When the mind doubts, the soul kicks in. That's how you keep going. That's how you win not just the battle, but the war. Stop treating weakness like it's the end of the road. Start treating it like it's your invitation to climb higher. It's there to push you, not paralyze you. It's there to wake something up inside of you that comfort never could. So lean into it, embrace it, and let it teach you how much fight you really have. Because on the other side of weakness, that's where the strongest version of you is waiting. Momentum doesn't just show up. It doesn't knock on your door and say, today's the day. It waits for you to move. Because motion is the match that lights the fire. You don't get momentum by sitting still, waiting for the perfect plan, or hoping motivation suddenly finds you. You get it by starting, clumsy, tired, uncertain, but starting anyway. One step, one decision, one act of will. That's how it begins. We live in a world that worships the big leap. Everyone's chasing the breakthrough, the explosive moment of success. But what they don't tell you is that momentum, the real kind, is built in silence. It's built when no one's watching. It's built in repetition, in sweat, in days that look exactly the same, the grind, the early mornings. The late nights, the consistent, deliberate forward motion. That's how you generate force. That's how you start to turn the wheel. The hardest part isn't going far, it's starting. It's that first 10 minutes when your body is still stiff, your mind is still foggy, and the voice in your head is louder than your goals. That's the battle, the rest, that comes with rhythm, because once you move, once you begin, something shifts inside you. The blood flows, the doubt quiets, the vision clears, but none of that happens until you decide to break the stillness. Movement is the catalyst, always. It doesn't matter how small the step is. It doesn't matter if you only did half the workout or wrote one page or made one call. You did something, and that something stacks, it builds. Momentum is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about staying in motion long enough that the resistance gets tired of showing up. It's about making the choice every single day that your goals matter more than your mood. People wait to feel inspired. They wait for energy, for clarity, for the conditions to be just right. But that's not how it works. Energy comes asterisk after asterisk effort. Clarity comes asterisk through asterisk action. Confidence comes asterisk from asterisk doing the hard things again and again until you prove to yourself that you're not here to play around. The longer you wait, the heavier everything feels, but the moment you move, the weight begins to lift. The fog begins to clear. Momentum rewards movement. It shows up for the people who refuse to sit in their excuses. The ones who stop negotiating with procrastination. The ones who say, I might not have everything figured out, but I'm not standing still. Because motion, even imperfect, is better than stagnation dressed up as planning. You can correct a course, but you can't steer a parked car. You've got to get rolling first. There will be days when you don't feel it, when the last thing you want to do is take action. And that's when it matters most. That's when you build grit. That's when you separate yourself from the crowd. Because average waits for motivation, the relentless create their own. They understand that movement is not optional, it's oxygen. Without it, the dream suffocates, but with it, it comes alive. You ever notice how hard it is to get going after you've stopped? How every day you skip, it gets easier to skip the next. That's the law of inertia. Bodies at rest stay at rest. Not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but once you break that stillness, even if it's ugly, even if it's slow, you begin to build a different momentum. One that says, I'm doing this no matter what. And here's the secret, once you get moving, everything starts working with you. The ideas come easier, the effort feels lighter, the process begins to unfold, but none of that happens if you wait. You've got to move first. You've got to trust the process enough to take the first swing, even if you miss. Even if you fall, because momentum doesn't care about perfection, it only cares about consistency, so move. Even when you're tired, move. Even when you're scared, move. Even when the results aren't immediate. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the stars to align. Don't wait for the right mood, the right time, or the right words. Start right now with what you have where you are, and keep moving, one step at a time. That's how the momentum finds you. That's how the fire stays lit. That's how the breakthrough shows up because you refuse to sit still. The ones at the top didn't get there because everything was perfect. They didn't climb the mountain on full stomachs and well-rested legs. They trained on empty. They showed up when their tank was dry, when their muscles screamed, when their minds told them to stay in bed. They didn't wait for ideal conditions. They created greatness in the midst of fatigue, in the middle of chaos, with nothing but willpower pushing them forward. That's what separates the average from the relentless. It's not talent, it's not luck. It's the decision to train when most people would sit down. You see, when you're full of energy, full of motivation, full of certainty, anybody can work. That doesn't impress anybody. What matters is who you become when you're empty, when you're running on fumes, when the noise in your head is louder than the praise. That's when your character steps into the light. That's when the real work happens, because winners know something most people don't. The hard days are the ones that count the most. Training on empty teaches you things that comfort never will. It teaches you how to dig deeper, how to rely on discipline instead of emotion, how to find strength when you swore there was nothing left. It's in those final reps, when your body begs you to quit, that you discover how far you're really willing to go. When everything hurts and you're still moving, that's when you're building something unshakable. Not just muscles or skills, but mental toughness. Spiritual fire, grit, that kind of strength can't be taught in a classroom or handed to you in a motivational quote. You earn it in the dark, alone, tired, spent but still moving. Most people don't get that. They think if they feel empty, it's a sign to stop. They think exhaustion is a wall, but winners know it's a doorway. That's the place where most people turn back, and they press forward, they lean into the pain, they embrace the fatigue. Not because they like suffering, but because they know what's on the other side: growth, progress, breakthrough. They understand that comfort never produces greatness, and pain never comes without purpose. There's a level of greatness that only reveals itself when you push past the point of comfort. You don't get there by coasting. You get there by grinding when no one's looking, when the applause has stopped, when your body is screaming and your heart is questioning why you even started. And in that moment, when you could quit and no one would blame you, but you keep going anyway, that's where you become who you were meant to be. Winners train on empty because they know real life doesn't wait for them to feel ready. The opportunities that change everything show up when you're tired, when you're busy, when you're stretched thin. If you've only trained yourself to show up when conditions are perfect, you won't last. But if you've practiced pushing through exhaustion, if you've rehearsed perseverance, if you've become a master of showing up no matter what, you'll be ready when it counts. There will be days when you have nothing left, when you feel like every step is too heavy, every thought is scattered, every reason to continue feels distant. But if you can train on those days, if you can look in the mirror and say, today, even empty, I still work, that's when you gain a power no one can take from you. Because when others fall apart, you'll know how to keep going. When the pressure rises, you'll be calm. When things break down, you'll hold steady because you've been here before, you've trained for this. The world belongs to those who show up when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when it hurts. That's what greatness demands. And it never asks if you're tired. It never waits for your energy to return. It calls for action now. In your weakest moment, in your driest season, when all you have is fight, that's when you answer, not with words, but with work. With presence, with the decision to keep walking even with lead in your legs and doubt in your chest. You don't rise by being full, you rise by refusing to let empty stop you, and the ones who understand that. The ones who choose to train through the emptiness, to work when it makes no sense, to chase their vision when their body wants to quit, they're the ones who win. Not because it was easy, not because they had more, but because they kept showing up, even when there was nothing left but heart. So now you know, this isn't about how you feel it's about what you do . It's not about waiting for strength, but building it in weakness. Not about the spark of motivation, but the fire of movement. Not about staying comfortable, but about showing up empty, broken, exhausted, and pushing anyway. The world doesn't hand greatness to the most talented, it rewards the most disciplined. The ones who fight through silence, who train when no one's clapping, who move when every part of them wants to stop. You want to win, then understand this. No one's coming to save you. No one's carrying you to the finish line. You either rise or you stay where you are, and if you're going to rise if you're going to rise then do it with everything you've got. Even when you're tired, especially when you're tired, because that's when it matters most.